All right, hey gang. We're just letting Rico end really quick. We're gonna do the last of the, I had to buy a new jar because I broke my old one.
I'll see you tonight, actually, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My guest is Diego from Exotics for the Focus On. We'll see you.
Cool. Let me mute this thing so I can see people as they come in. Welcome, Jenna, and everyone. Yeah, so I ordered one of those weird sponge filters with the motor, and I wanted specifically to get a motor that was like inline, where the inlet and the outlet were not offset on like a right angle. I hope that can't really see my phone screen that good up there. Yeah. And then I stuffed the bottom with Leica because there was still, it just seems like it'll make more sense to have a little bit better of a barrier with this is a reverse under gravel. Sorry, I'm assuming that people know what's going on with this and you don't. I have this motor flipped upside down, so instead of pulling water from the bottom, it's going to pull water from this surface skimmer. And, well, maybe that's a little tall. We'll have to figure that out. But the other thing that we're doing today, in this mess of a room that we've got, is I've got a 5-gallon bucket, a bunch of distilled water, and salt from, there we go. Salt from HCB Chemistry, who is another YouTuber. He's not really in the fish fam, but we got a whole bunch of people in here. Let me say hi really quick. So I said hi to Jenna. Ed came in right after. Then we've got Linda, Geek Boy, live chat. And Pink Rose was in here first, obviously. She's always here. Mexicali, welcome in. Amisa. Myrtle. Ed again. Ryan. This is the best voice yet. All right, Steven, DJ. I'm assuming audio and video is like reasonable. I've got my headphones in, so I'm hoping that the voice is good. I like that, Patty. That's cute. I'm sorry, Ed. I hope it's not too rough waiting. Yeah, so I've got a whole bunch of distilled water that I got from the Freddy's. I paid for all of that with bottle return money. The bottle drop is pretty magic like that. I don't know how it works in your guys' state, but the way we've got it set up here in Oregon right now is every like bottle is worth 10 cents, but if you use the bottle drop like program, instead of returning the cans individually yourself, you like put them in a green bag and drop the big green bag off with a sticker, and you get a little card, and then you can redeem that either for the regular cash amount, and you don't have to count the cans individually, or you can redeem it for 20% more in store. So each can is then worth 12 cents per can. So I can go to the store, and instead of getting like 37 bucks, I get 39 or something out of it. And there's like not every store allows that, but it meant that I did not have to pay any money out of pocket for this distilled water. Oh man, where am I going to plug this into when the time comes? Before I make this bucket all heavy. Get up there. So I can be sure it will reach. So this pump is just like a standard old pond pump. And what it's doing for me is it's going to slowly heat the. Do not eat those plants. You know they're going to kill you. Bloody cats, man. Eric is in here. We got Mark. We got 28 people in the chat. Holy shit. That is not a small amount. Where's my other jug of water? So it's not necessarily cheaper to do it this way, but it was easier for me to get home 5 individual jugs than it would have been for me to get home one of the like 5-gallon Primo bottles. But if you are wanting to get into salt or brackish, which is the goal with this, is a brackish jar. I gotta remember to breathe sometimes. But if you are looking to get into that at any point, you definitely want to. It's going to be a better deal to go get the like Primo reverse osmosis, like 5-gallon jugs that you put on a water cooler. But Primo, Primo, they're the one that you see everywhere, at least around here. I'm sure there's other brands. It's I think like less than 50 cents a gallon. Somewhere over here is an alkalinity mix. I don't have it right now, but since I'm not putting any plants in, that's not necessarily going to be problematic yet. Look what I did with it. I'm still moving in, so everything's like in boxes and mixed up. And every 2 days, I move everything around and get even more confused about where things went. So that's a blast. But our boy HCB sent me out. That's Henry Colin Barajas, I think. But HCB Chemistry is the YouTube channel. And he has a little video that he made talking about what you do. And he uses the Primo water most of the time because he doesn't have an RO unit yet. This is not going to be your like reef crystals. See, these are like kind of big chunks. Unfortunately. But that just means that it will take a little bit longer to fully dissolve. Sorry, there was a notification on my computer that I was confused about. On one that is too old to support any operating system that StreamYard works on, unfortunately. So I'm just rinsing the heck out of that bag. But this is everything but the alkalinity mix. And the pump that's in there is going to slowly heat the water a little bit, which would maybe help it dissolve faster. And it's going to just stir it for me, which should help. And then I'm going to just keep it in that bucket functionally for water changes and things. I'm going to lid it and whatnot. Welcome in, Debs. I'm glad you're here. Myrtle, this is going to be brackish. So I do have, I mean, I don't know if there's any left, but on this guy, which is my like little paludarium, which, oh, you guys haven't met them yet. Hold on. Let me unscrew this from the thing, unplug you. Let's see. Down here is a little Betta. She does this a lot where she just fucking goes and hides underneath of something, but can't get rid of that glare, unfortunately. Yeah, see, now she's peeking at us. But she needs a larger space because this was a temporary thing. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do full time. Hey, Nathan. I keep holding my breath while I like film things, and how do you guys do this? Somewhere in here, right there. Right there. See that fat lady? She's got way too much color on her. These are supposedly pure endlers. That's what I was. No, look at that orange stripe going down her. But she's big and fat like a pregnant female. You can't tell me that's a male. Sorry, I'm just a little frustrated that like 4, 5 generations in, I've got a. You know what I'm saying? It's told they were pure endlers. They are not. Oh, did I leave it? There we go. So I've got jars in the way, so I can't really extend this out the way that I want it to. Oh, that's good enough. Yeah, the salt is already starting to, it's like half dissolved. Let me get my big turkey baster and just. So I'm gonna try the Opa Ula, but I don't think they're gonna do well in this setup. To be fully honest, I don't think Opa Ula are gonna do well in this setup. I think I'm probably gonna end up doing better with hermit crabs of some kind, because the hermit crabs in general do better in dirty environments, which is what the mangrove propule here is going to need, and is what so far this bucket of miracle mud and aragonite sand, and I added salt to that, but it was not as good of quality as what HCB gives us. But this is like mucky, icky, dirty water, right? The Ope Ula are not really going to like that, I don't think. From what I've read, they prefer really clean water, and you just like don't fuck with it. You let it be really stable. And the hermit crabs can coexist with Ope Ula, but if you keep it to the ideal Ope Ula parameters, the hermit crabs only live like 2 years, like if you're lucky. And if you keep it to ideal hermit crab parameters, the Opeula only live like 3-4 years if you're lucky, instead of like 20. So yeah, we'll see what ends up going on. But the idea with the Lika is mostly to provide, well, it's to fuck it up so that I can't put the tank deep enough, right? So I can't fit that surface skimmer all the way in there. Nah, that's just a joke. But the Lika is there so that the water can flow more evenly throughout the substrate because it's reverse flow under gravel, right? I'm not. Okay. Take you guys out. I'm gonna flatten them. I swear I had a big pair of scissors in here, and I like every time I look for them, they're gone, and then every time I'm not looking for them, I like stab myself. I don't know if you need a power head. I just know that having it stir up is gonna make it easier, and being like the little bit of watts of power that I'm adding here, because this is not just salt, right? Like it's fucking calcium and whatever else. Um, I do need to make up a mix of alkalinity solution, which the alkalinity solution is like all the stuff. It's all your buffer, I think. From what I understand, I'm not really that good at the saltwater thing. I'm not really good. I don't fucking know shit. You know, like I do, but I don't. Like anyone else. Hey, Red Laser. Glad you're here, Mr. Gord. All right. Let me find. Well, I didn't add all 5 gallons. That might help. And then I have an additional gallon that I distilled myself with a distiller, a countertop distiller that was a waste of money. And you should get yourself an RO system instead of thinking that you can. Um, it's not. It's not worth it. They're too slow. Either buy the water or get an RO unit. I feel like my brain is just turned off, guys. All right. Well, I need something to pour you in short term. If you guys don't already know, Lika is really dusty, and that's going to be another problem, but whatever, man. It's so funny that it's like the trade name is Lika now. I have always heard it called Hydroton for years. Hydroton. All right, and then where? This thing. Still too tall. That sucks, dude. That's frustrating. I thought I fitted this all already. I need an even nanoer one. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Let's feed some fish. Over here, I have a grindleworm culture. Grindleworms. And I feed them apparently duckweed. Or that might be a red root floater. I don't know how that got in there. Actually, I do. This is how it got in there. So generally, I just knock any soil bits that are off on there off, and then I gotta turn my tank off really quick. Feed. Is this a good angle? Ish. There's a lot of glare from the plant lights. Is that better? Yeah, that's reasonable. All right. I'm trying to do my brackish jar, Steve, but I'm like bad with sizing. I want things to fit together better than they do. And then, so a lot of people will take the little bit, like they put their food on this tray and then you take this tray off and you shake that in. And that's what I'm going to do for the betta over here, is the betta, and there's a couple like female endlers I threw in there. Don't need as much. But for this big tank, I just take this whole sheet. I knock the big pieces of soil off, but like it's a dirted tank anyways. I shake that into the tank and I let that additional moisture help provide moisture for my culture, right? Because grindleworms like it like concrete mix wet. And then I either feed them fish food or I go grab the cat kibble of whatever it is that I'm feeding. At the time, and I grab like 3 kibbles and I feed this culture that's in like a half-gallon ish size tub. I would say infrequently, like every, I don't know, I guess it would be more frequent than some people. Some people don't feed theirs like once a week. I feed like every 3 days. And then I alternate. And then I alternate with the dry food. And because we're on camera right now, I'm going to spoil the fish and I'm going to give them some dry food too. I overfeed the fuck out of this tank because I'm trying to get my shrimp back. And there's like 8 adults in here still. And my pygmy Corys looked skinny when we moved. So that was another reason that I've been overfeeding this tank. Hey Silver, welcome in. That sucks, Steven. But, you know, we know where to get them, right? Can I get you closer? You still can't really see what's going on in that tank. Nice next step after baby brine shrimp. Yeah, exactly, Steve. And in this tank here, so on that side we've got like a few plants, but on this side we have mostly one kind of plant. And that plant is Aldrovanda. Oh, that was like such a perfect little sprig to pull out too. Aldrovanda vesiculosa. And this plant is an aquatic carnivorous plant. Each one of these little, you see it's kind of like Rotala or whatever. Ow! Okay, it's fucking like biting me, dude. That like it is mildly acidic and it likes acidic water. But like it exudes a little bit of an acid, and I can feel it on my fingers there, which is wild. I've never had that happen before. But I don't know if these will focus for you guys. StreamYard does not like to autofocus, does it? But each one of these little wheel fronds, you see, has a little cup on it. Yeah. Okay. And each one of those is like a Venus flytrap. Like, so it grows like hornwort. You see, it's just like a huge mass within the tank. And like again, that's only a 2.5 gallon tank, and half of it is full of like soil and sphagnum peat, which is growing pretty good. It's not, the red needs much more light to remain red, unfortunately, but it's doing its thing. Have fun, Steven. His plant ate him. Yeah. Feed me Seymour. That one. Look at this fucking. That's not a female Endler. That is like you've got guppy blood. Show the color. You gotta go be a good partner and dig, Nathan. Them's the rules. If I'm gonna give you all my Rico standpoints, you have to go dig the ditches. You gotta go dig some garden beds. Even if that means go drive to Home Depot and rent a rototiller so you can dig them cheap and easy. Let's go feed the other two. I don't have enough grindleworms to feed them today, but you can see my mess of how I'm not all the way moved in yet. But check this out. We've got like a huge living room now. We have 2 bathrooms. What? There's another toilet. And out here, I have, sorry, a bird viewing area that I've set up for the cats on the other side of this privacy screen. So like Yeah, I've got the shades open all the time and people can see in, but they can't actually see in. Let's see if I can angle this so you guys can see the tank in any way, shape, or form. Unplug my filter. My electronic Wi-Fi plugs have just straight stopped working, and I can't get them to connect to the new Wi-Fi. So that's super fun, and it means that this light, that somewhere I have a little motor controller to make it be like all other digital lights where they've got a Wi-Fi timer and stuff like that, or not a Wi-Fi timer, but you know what I mean. They've got a little built-in timer and clock. Somewhere there is one of those. I just wasn't using it because I like them to be like power outage resilient, and the Wi-Fi timers are power outage resilient. Overfeed these Corys. They were looking skinny. Let's see. We got 3 over here that smell the food. We get 2 over here that know where the food is at. I need to get a third, or I need to get another because I only had 6 and I lost one, and so there's only 5 in here. And I also think I'm gonna put, well, this guy's sad and truncated, and there's the flagfish. Can you guys smell the food? It's over here. You look skinny for a reason. It's because you don't know where the food's at. Oops. Hey, KJE. Keith. Flagfish found the food. So I want to move the Danios in here. So since I'm like certain that there's guppy blood in those endlers now, I'm not gonna care about keeping the line pure. I'm gonna forget that they're LT gray, and I'm just gonna be like, look, pretty fish, and I'm gonna put other pretty fish in that tank. I'm gonna move the my words are failing me again. What are you guys doing over here? Go eat. It's breakfast. Do you smell it? These little fish are silly. Hey Sam, how are you? He's one knows know where the food is at. This one with his scrunched up body. How are you supposed to compete? Oh, you're just skinny boy. You're a scrunchy boy. So you see this like moss stuff growing on that that is what Grant Eater is always complaining about. He's like, you know those Marimo moss balls when they explode and they just go everywhere? That's that. That's the a Marimo moss ball or 3. Oh, here's one. that is still a ball, sort of, right there. But on those rocks too, kind of like hair grass or hair moss looking stuff. But I really like how it adhered to the coconut shell, so that's kind of cool. Geese are little assholes anyways. If you're lucky, the corgi will get the geese. What are you doing? Lola. She doesn't love me. At least the fish love me. Hey, Lori. Hope I didn't miss you. You've been here for a while, I bet. What do you want? There we go. Sorry. My fat thumb hit the back button. Sorry, I'm just like chilling reading chat. I guess, yeah, if anybody wants to come up. Um and then we'll replace that. I hope that didn't cause any weird echo issues. What you yelling for, baby? Is there squirrels out there or something? Nothing out there. Don't know what you see. Run! Run! Yeah, I'm a fan of my 20 long too, Bunny. It's, check it out. Here. I gotta, like, take the lid off and then move the light to be diagonalish so you can see it. Not drop it in the tank. But my red root floaters are, like, always flowering under this, like, I think it's a cheapo Nicru tank. Thank you, Bunny. And that just makes me happy. Look at those tiny little flowers. How can that not bring a smile to your face? They're just so, like, perfect and delicate. And all of these ones are because a bunch of the plants died and had melt and stuff when I moved, because I dropped the water to, like, as low as I could get it, really. And some Corys, apparently I did not scoop. And they lived, because I didn't lose any more in the move than I had. Like, I lost one during a water change, like, 8 months ago or something like that. Like, right shortly after I started the tank up. And that's the only one I've lost, so. And then, I know I've talked about it before, but this tank has, like, under gravel setup, but also sort of stream style. So I've got an under gravel where the surface skimmer is attached on one side, and power head, which I just turned on, is attached on the other. Oh, and my surface skimmer is not. There we go. Why are you not working? God damn. I fucking hate powerheads, dude. Like, I love them, but they're such a pain in the ass, and I wish we had DC ones. Happy red root floaters do not belong down in that little black hole of death. Hey, Zenger. Welcome in. Sometimes when I have to do that, as you can tell, it makes the water really turbid for a few minutes. And then I'll probably have to replace the filter media, like filter floss. That just depends on what you read about, Tommy. If you read the news I read, because we all target ourselves towards specific fears, right? It would all be about how many people get ran over in the cities and on country roads and things near you, and what happens to the drivers and how it's like they get like a ticket. Dude, there's a dude who killed a guy not far from me. Like went over a concrete barrier, ran a red light across 2 lanes of traffic to turn, ran over a cyclist, drove off, got caught, and paid like $1,700 as a fine. Murdered somebody, committed like a lot of traffic violations, very obviously shouldn't have a license either. Like less than a month's rent in the area of town that he was in when he committed the crime. It's all about like what our that's the news that I read, right? Because I ride a bike. And so it's all about what stuff like not just sticks in our head, but what I sound fucking crazy, but you know, what the media feeds us, right? Yeah, hunter gatherer is anti-society, unfortunately. Like I wish it wasn't, but society means and like civilization means settling and agriculture. And hunter gatherer means the opposite of agriculture. But I do hear like what you know what I mean. It's complicated. I hear what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Bye, Nathan. Go dig us a garden bed. The salt is pretty much all dissolved in here now. Oh, I'm spilling. Probably should have put this towel underneath of the bucket when I put it on the leather, like, cheap piano bench. Yeah, exactly, Anissa. Let me click that. I'm reading chat on YouTube on the tablet over here. And yes, Barbara, it's a mixed bag, right? Because like we don't want to blame Like, not everybody can drive a car, right? And like, I don't know. It's really complicated, and I have pretty strong opinions about it. But it's stupid that driving a car is functionally the only option in many parts of America, and I don't mean rural ones. Uh, I mean where the majority of people live. They're still car, like, not just car first, but nearly car only, and that is very difficult to. Passing wind. Silver usually uses voice to text because he's missing a finger and he can't type good anymore. It's not because his hands are wet. It's because he's missing a finger and he can't type good no more. And gosh darn, yeah. And so Hovey becomes Hubby because it's actually not Hovey, it's Hovey. I'm gonna blame the voice to text. They could just be brother wives, you know. I'm not against it, but I'm spoken for already. All right, Tommy, keep telling yourself that. What if? Oh, that was a really ugly cut. Angled as fuck. I really hope I don't fucking break this one by moving my knife recklessly. That would be really rough. Oh man. Pushing to try to get sidewalks. They end about 5 miles before your areas, and there are no city buses anymore either. And you're not very far from the city. Exactly, passing wind. It's really complicated. Um, we've got actual discussion going on here, and I'm not paying any attention. Just got general. Yeah, I hear you, Zen. There's a lot that could go on. So many ways we could die. Yeah. So I am like, as somebody who lives car free, right? Like we own a single car, me and my partner, and it's not mine. Meaning I own an e-bike. I have owned cargo bikes. I've owned regular old analog bikes. I've had whatever. I only bike. I'm significantly more likely to get yelled at, like, get out of the lane, or something like that. You know what I mean? Get out of the road, get off the road. If I'm in a bike lane, oddly enough, as bizarre as that sounds, and not by a small amount. You know what I mean? I am significantly more likely to be told to get off the road when I'm in the bike lane than when I'm taking the lane and like biking like. And so this is assuming that there is a bike lane and that it's not. It's because I generally don't take the lane if there is a bike lane. The only times I do that is if it's like a door zone. If you set up a bicycle lane with the setup to be, so I chop this barb down a little bit, and I'm hoping maybe that will help. I don't think it's going to make enough of a difference, but we'll give it a shot. I don't know, that might work, but it's still, I'm going to have the water like right at the lip. So yeah, if you set up, yeah, and that's the fucking problem, Tommy, is people who, just like people who are statistically just, or drivers of specific vehicles of cars that are statistically more like specific models of cars, right? Are statistically more likely to go out of their way to hit wildlife on the roads than other cars, just based on demographics of who's likely to buy and own those vehicles. The same thing goes for who's likely to go out of their way to throw a drink out their window at me or to try and hit me on the roads. And I have that happen. I know you're talking about old back country roads with blind spots and whatnot. Honestly, in my like I wouldn't be surprised if Texas gets more than $4 to $8 million a year in bicycle tourism. It's I know bicycle tourism doesn't sound like a big deal, but people probably go to Texas because it has pretty landscapes and all sorts of things, and they bike through there intentionally to like they go to Texas on bike tours and they spend money in Texas, and that's good for Texas. I hear you, but here's a question for you. Why should cars have the only priority on the roads? Like, were roads invented for cars? Because we've only really had cars for like slightly more than 100 years, just over 100 years. The word jaywalking has only existed for 100 years. In 1922 was when the first instance of jaywalking existed, and it was a propaganda campaign specifically to make you feel like if you walk in the street, you are in the wrong, which is not true. The streets are made for people. The streets exist for people. Sure, and that's very valid. Our highway campaign was subsidized by the federal government so we could move our military faster within the United States, right? Like, it's the same thing. You're not wrong. That's very valid. But yeah, so okay, yeah, so bike touring areas, right? Bike touring areas in my area at least are marked with a little sign that says like scenic bike route or something like that, or designated Oregon cycle Oregon route 12 or whatever for whatever thing it is. And that's great. But you know what they don't have? A wide shoulder. Frequently they have blind corners. Frequently they're not like it's a no posted speed limit, right? So it's a 55 or whatever the fuck people want to drive on those back country roads. And that's where the state is telling people who are not from here to go ride their bikes. That's where people who are organizing bicycle events are told by the government to go organize these events and put them on these roads. And that's very valid too. I think that depends on the bike, to be honest. I think we need better like more sane regulation in regards to the varying kinds of bikes that are out there these days, because like straight up my bike shouldn't be in the bike lanes. I can go 30 miles an hour on it. Or if it's in the bike lanes, I should only be going 20 or 25. On the flip side, I can go 35 miles per hour on a road bike without a motor if I pedal. Like if I pedal my ass out when I was in my best shape, I could go 35 miles per hour. Now, would I do that in a bike lane? No, I do that in a velodrome. But it's very much possible to hit those speeds. It's so like it's hard to be like, yeah, my bike shouldn't be in the bike lanes because it can go 30 miles per hour. It's fucking, I don't know. It's complicated. The the big thing for me is like if you're going to build a bike lane and you want to put, like I was talking about door zones, you've got your regular lane of traffic, a bike lane, and then a lane of parking. So at any moment in time, someone could open their door, drive out into the lane at you because they don't check their fucking mirrors, or they don't see you in the bike lane because they're looking for cars, or whatever. Or somebody could merge into your lane and not see you because of whatever fucking reason, they're texting, they're not paying attention, right? That when you build the parking on the, that's what's called a door zone. And I will intentionally not ride in the bike lane in a door zone, especially if it's like 2 blocks. And it's a 35 mile per hour road and my bike can go 30 miles per hour. The car can wait for me to get into a safe spot before I get out of the lane, or they can pass me in the median or something. If they think it's safe to pass me like that, they can do that, and they can be pissy and pass me on a 35 mile per hour road, which is where they do those door zones. You don't see those on high speed roads, right? You see them in areas where there's going to be street parking, which also is kind of problematic, right? So what is street parking? It's like space that is designated for a private vehicle to exist and take up, and it's probably single occupancy. Most people drive a 4-seater or 5 or 8-seater fucking vehicle, and they're the only person in it, and they drive this massive multi-ton vehicle, and then they expect to be able to park it on the street, or they expect there to be a massive parking lot. And this is public space, public land that otherwise could be storefronts, it could be seating for a restaurant, like outdoor seating, it could be a little garden, it could be all sorts of things, right? But instead it has to be street parking. Street parking on its own is kind of problematic. And what is it for? Private property to take up space and generally not make any revenue. And when it does make revenue, you've got that risk of doing something like Chicago did, right? Where they, if you aren't aware, Chicago doesn't own their parking meters anymore. The city of Chicago no longer makes any revenue off of their parking meters since like 2007 or something like that. They sold it to Friedman Banks or Goldman Sachs, or it was some fucking investment like banking firm, you know, and they made an awful disease. They're basically, yeah, they diseased their city, but they made an awful choice and got an awful deal. And it's now there's like a whole bunch of shit wrong with what they did, but like not only do they not make money off of their parking meters anymore, but they no longer have control over their streets. They don't own their parking meters because they leased them to this banking company. So this banking company controls the streets of Chicago, legally speaking. And if they want to have outdoor seating during the pandemic, right, they have to pay the banking company for the prospective lost. The city has to pay the banking company for the prospective lost parking meter profits, right, that could have existed in those parking spaces. Because at some point in the past, we decided it was logical to provide free or, you know, heavily subsidized public space for people to keep their private property on while they're out and about doing their shit. And like, sure, I like there to be bike infrastructure. I want to be able to lock my bike up at bike racks and things. Don't get me wrong, I like that. But does it have to be street parking? Does it have to be surface level? Or can we like put underground parking in? Can we spend a little bit more money to keep like, or put it on the roof or whatever? You know what I mean? Can we build parking structures in every city block and make that the legal the zoning ordinance instead of surface level street parking? These are the things that we like. You guys could go talk to your city council members. You could send an email if you so wanted. You could educate yourself on this subject in a more eloquent manner than I'm doing right now. You know, spend the time, learn about your city, look at the projects they're working on right now, and you could have an input. I email my people, and I'm in a new city now. I moved, so now I have input in a different area, legally speaking. Like I'm somebody else's constituent. Even if I didn't vote them in, now I'm in their county and everything like that. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing too. That you can get into with the money behind the traffic cameras. But I gotta start getting ready for work soon. I'm sorry that I went on that weird fucking rant about bike lanes and car centric infrastructure and whatever. And I'm not eloquent enough to really express how like the long and short of it. You know what I mean? There's a lot more that goes into it than what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. But Sunfish says, dang weirdos. Yeah, accurate. It's always fun when the edibles kick in. I wish that was what was happening, dude. No, I'm just like, not only do I have strong opinions about things, I'm one of those people who spends too much time researching subjects so I end up having strong opinions about lots of things. And sometimes they're weird, strong opinions, like you guys are saying, dang weirdos. Love you, Sunfish. But other times they're I don't know the word for what I'm saying. But like if you show me some fucking subject, I will either already have read up on it more than I probably should have, or I will quickly form a strong opinion on the subject. And yes, June, that's why you want to get, that is one of the like disadvantages of IP cams, right? Is that they go through the internet and stuff like that. Like, I love how easy IP cams are to set up, but if you have your own CCTV, then they have to physically patch into it, theoretically. So I put Leica, and then I have the other layers in again. They're kind of ugly, but they'll get weighed down by the sand. Turn green in the gray. Oops. Over here throwing a tantrum, you hear me smashing shit around. Damn. I'm gonna get rid of as much of this like cheap salt water as I can, because I don't need it. All right, making a mess. Live in the pond, eat bugs. Yeah, it's all of that. I hope that's the ASMR you guys were all looking for today. Maybe we can help you find your peace. we go. Upside down cam. Sorry. No, that's not it. It's in this thing. Okay, in the small pot, this is a Pothos Enjoy. In this pot, that's Philodendron micans. This is also Philodendron micans. Got a bunch of dead, dying ones too that are like, they keep falling out of this, so they end up dry, because this little jar is not ideal, I guess. All right. I keep getting distracted and talking about things instead of, I don't know if you would call it doing my job. I'm not getting paid. I could be doing like Uber Eats or something right now if I wanted to be. We got a handful of rocks that we must artfully arrange. Ah, yes, so artful. Much art. Very wow. All right, is that all of my rocks? No, I have one more. Damn. All right. I was supposed to fill that up half with fresh water. So That's gonna be a few weeks until I figure that out. I guess I can remove some water and add my fresh. That like requires effort, but it's not that much effort. Let's do that really quick. Suck down about there. And I don't have my hydrometer right now, so we'll wait on that and we'll figure it all out. We'll get it dialed in slowly over time because the only thing that's in it right now is this mangrove, which I may very well kill, but like that's not the end of the world if I kill a single propagule than like live sand by getting my salinity to drastically different multiple times in a row. All right, that's probably good. We'll add the fresh that I have here. Fresh distilled. How do I keep plants from floating up? Oh, look at that. That was like the perfect amount. Wow, I can eyeball things. Wow. Let's clean up some of this water that I spilled. All right. Next step. Plug this thing in and see if it works. Oop. Yeah, look at that. All right. Can you guys see stuff? There was floating stuff, and it's getting sucked towards. And then it's gonna percolate up through. I don't know if you guys, how much you guys can see of that. But this is gonna take a while to clear up because the miracle mud is known for being kind of messy. No, I hear you, man. Like, I'm sorry I went on this weird rant about it. Like, you know me. But I actually do need to get going because I gotta get ready for work and I'm wearing sweatpants right now. KJE been in. Check him out for vinegar eel cultures. He's got them too. I don't know if he has grindleworms yet. I think he talked about it. He's been in and out. I can understand that, June. It's been rough for you lately. Milo. Yeah, so hopefully this is going to be a brackish tank with red root mangrove, which I busted one of the roots off, but they're already popping out. Hey J-Rock, how you doing? Your train watching and stuff is a blast, my dude. I'm going thrifting lately. Nice. All right. Well, have a wonderful day. You know, hopefully it was less messy than my day was. I made the floor is kind of wet. Not as bad as overflowing a tank or anything, but you know. I will see you guys in the chats. Bye.